Good evening, everybody. This is Benny Goodman welcoming you to the swing school for Camel's Cigarette.
Well, what's on the musical blackboard tonight, Professor?
Oh, it's really going to be different tonight, Doctor. But first, we're going to swing into our stride with Remember by Irving Berlin. Latch on, boys.
Hey there, I'm Mike Gillette, your host, and this is 1937, Part 4 of the Soundscape series, Episode 36 of When Radio Ruled. This podcast is a montage of excerpts from old-time radio shows performed live and broadcast February 1 to February 21, 1937. Starring Gary Cooper, the cast of the Lux Radio Theater, Cecille B. Demille, Faye Gillis, Kay Kyser Orchestra, Eddie Cantor, Jimmy Wallington, Rufus Maire, Jean Raymond, Anna Sten, Father Coughlin, Leslie Howard, Rudy Vallee, and more. Featured songs include Kay Kyser, Hey Hey Your Cares Away, and I Don't Want to Get Well, Eddie Cantor, Gee But You're Swell, That's the Baby for Me, and My Dream of the Radio. Rudy Vallee, Social Security Song, and You'll Love Me Someday. These soundscapes are a result of the research phase of the When Radio Ruled historical documentary series. In order to find the best old-time radio excerpts to express the essence of the era, I listened to hundreds of hours of old-time radio broadcasts, looking for the most interesting bits. For the two documentaries about 1937, I listened to almost 150 hours of recorded past. When I hear something outstanding, a song or a joke or a comedy sketch, a news report or an interview, I add it to a best of clip reel, so I can easily find all the best excerpts for the documentary. But not everything can get into the final version. For 1937, I boiled 6.3 days of programming down to 27 hours of excerpts, from which a little under 5 hours made the final cut. And it seems like such a waste. Listening to these clip reels is one of my favorite parts of the process. I don't remember what I put on each reel, so they contain one delightful gem after another. And I want to share that experience with you. These excerpts are offered without commentary for your entertainment and education. So here are voices from 1937. Voices sadly now silenced. Great performers living again because you're listening to them perform live now.
I think I'll go down and punch the editor on the nose.
No, you don't. Listen, get this clear. Punching people is not the solution to anything.
Sometimes it's the only solution.
Not editors. Take my word for it. Not editors.
Mrs. Ellison and her 16-year-old daughter have been listening to our play.
Wouldn't it be wonderful, Mother, if someone left us a lot of money like they did to Mr. Deeds?
What would you do with it, Betty?
Buy heaps of new clothes, for one thing, and dozens of new undies. Those lovely French handmade ones with lace, and...
Now, child, you have plenty of pretty clothes. And nice undies as it is.
Oh, but, Mums, I haven't. Why, even those new slips I got for Christmas look sort of run down now.
That, my dear, is your own fault. How often have I told you to take care of your underthings? Wash them every night with Lux Flakes. Mine stay new-looking for months, even years, thanks to Lux.
Mrs. Ellison is right. Gentle Lux Flakes do keep your silk things new-looking far longer. They make your lingerie really clean without hurting colors or fabrics. Things not only wear longer when luxed regularly, but you'll be delighted at how sweet and fresh they are. So why not play safe and be thrifty, too? Get the habit of dipping your underthings into Lux Flakes Gentle Suds after each wearing. Start tonight. And once again, Mr. Demille.
KNX, Los Angeles, the voice of Hollywood.
In a few moments, we'll resume Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, starring Gary Cooper in the title role and Jean Arthur as the reporter. We hear now from another lady of the press, Faye Gillis. Miss Gillis fell rather than rose to fame. One of the best-known ladybirds in America, she became the first woman member of the Caterpillar Club, whose ranks are composed solely of those who have saved their lives by parachute jumps from aeroplanes. When Wiley Post made his record-breaking flight around the world, it was Miss Gillis who met him in Siberia with food and fuel, the place occupied by Will Rogers. On his tragic flight with Wiley Post, was relinquished to Mr. Rogers at the last moment by Miss Gillis. She is now in Hollywood, reporting for the New York Herald Tribune, and expects to leave shortly for the Orient. Ladies and gentlemen, Faye Gillis.
Thank you, Mr. Demille.
Becoming a member of the Caterpillar Club, Miss Gillis, must have been a very exalting experience.
On the contrary, it was decidedly a come-down. I still think flying is the safest means of transportation and use commercial planes whenever I can. But I've had to give up private flying temporarily because it's too much of a luxury.
Oh. Which do you consider the most important syllable of luxury?
Lux, of course. And I'll never give that up. In fact, I carry it with me wherever I go, though it's hardly necessary anymore, for I find it everywhere, from Vladivostok to Pambanok and Java. By the way, here's another use for Lux Flakes, washing leopards. I've had my pet leopard Snooks ever since she was a little bundle of fur caught in the African jungle, and she's with me now in Hollywood. Snooks has the most beautiful coat you ever saw. There's a reason. Since babyhood, she's had a bath twice a month with Lux Flakes and loves it.
Trying to put Lux on the spot, huh? Faye, you must find Hollywood rather dull after reporting wars, coronations, and other exciting events.
Why, no. When my feet start itching, I can take a trip around the world by touring the studios. I can visit Tibet on the Columbia lot, where Harry Cohen has erected spectacular Shangri-La for Lost Horizon, the magnificent new film directed by Frank Capra, who also directed the screen version of tonight's play, Mr. Deeds. I can visit Naples on the set of Dodsworth, India and Afghanistan in Shirley Temple's new film, Wee Willie Winkie, Berlin in The Road Back, Westminster Abbey in The Prince and the Pauper, Dublin in The Plough and the Stars, and China in The Good Earth. And now, thanks very much, Mr. Demille. I'll be seeing you at Paramount before long, slinking through the bayous of Louisiana with Lafitte, the buccaneer.
Good night, Globetrotter.
Hollywood is a place where Carol Lombard doesn't close her dressing room door, where Myrna Loy, while waiting on the set to play a sophisticated lady, knits. It's a town where a producer, advised to take a trip around the world, said, "No, there are plenty of other places I'd rather see first." It's a town where a sign on the road to Jean Harlow's house reads, "Danger, curves ahead." Where Harpo Marx declared that he wanted to keep his marriage a secret until after the divorce. But don't get me wrong, I love Hollywood. Hollywood is a place where the billboards read, "Garbo loves Taylor." But Greta would like you to know that they should read, "Taylor loves Garbo." It's a town where Grace Moore stands in an evening gown and cooks, where a person whispering a secret says, "I'll tell you this if you promise to let it go further." Where Simone likes the gags about her name and gave her boyfriend, John Swope, a watch inscribed to Swope Swope. Where James K. McGinnis, when invited to dinner by an actor he didn't like, answered, "I'd like to go, but I have a previous engagement, which I will arrange as soon as possible." But don't get me wrong, I love Hollywood. Hollywood is a place where Ginger Rogers, after dancing all day with Fred Astaire, goes dancing at the Trocadero with James Stewart for fun. It's a town where Jack McGowan sits on a permanent New York street at Metro and wishes he were in California. It's a town where Joseph von Sternberg presses a button in his house and creates the effect of rain beating on the roof. Where a Hollywood biggie complained to his wife saying, "I work for you, I slave for you, and what do I get? Nothing but thanks, thanks, thanks." But don't get me wrong, I love Hollywood. Hollywood is a place where Joan Crawford always has a favorite dish for every guest at dinner, where William Powell, the thin man, hates detective stories. It's a town where a bank on Hollywood Boulevard advertised picture night and gave away a 7-reel film with every deposit. It's a town where Billy Rose, on his way to stage the Texas Centennial, declared, "Boys, I'm going to make Texas the biggest state in the Union." Where Ernst Lubitsch said to a group of writers, "Now what this scenario needs is a scene with a typical Lubitsch touch. Got any suggestions?" But don't get me wrong, I love Hollywood. Hollywood is a place where Mary Astor sat in the Brown Derby gaping at a tourist, where the Earl of Warwick was suggested for the role of an earl in Parnell, but was turned down because he wasn't the type. It's a town where you can wear a Palm Beach suit with woolen underwear, where Robert Taylor's landlady reduced his rent because she wanted Robert Taylor in the house, where Groucho Marx, on meeting an actress, said, "I never forget a face, but I'm going to make an exception in your case." But don't get me wrong, I love Hollywood. Thanks. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Skulski.
And we escort you now to the matchless Trianon, the world's most beautiful ballroom on Chicago's South Side, for this Thursday evening concert in dance time, which genial Kay brings you in a spirit of beauty, melody, rhythm, and romance. By all means, remember tomorrow's waltz night at the Trianon. Remember, too, that on Saturday evening, on Sunday afternoon and evening, two great bands will preside at the world's most beautiful ballroom. No matter where you've danced, no matter where you've been, a matchless evening awaits you at the Trianon. And now to greet you is Kay Kyser.
Evening, folks. How y'all? Hey, hey, your cares away. Now those brown-skinned babies cry. Hey, 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 you get the way. When it turns right into spring, when the world begins to sing. Oh, hey, 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 you get the way. Round and round, from north to southward. Just make a hay, the mountain mouthward. Just toss your troubles to the sky with this happy lullaby. Oh, hey, 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 your cares away.
The Trianon is presenting Kay Kyser. Oh, gee, but you're swell. We bring you the Makes You Want to Dance music of Kay Kyser.
Sully, you old invalid. Come on.
I don't want to get well. I don't want to get well. I'm in love with that beautiful nurse. Early every morning, night and noon, the cutest little girlie comes and feeds me with a spoon. I don't want to get well. I don't want to get well. I'm glad they shot me on the firing line. The doctor says I'm in a bad condition, but I got so much ambition. I don't want to get well. I don't want to get well, 'cause I'm having too good of a time.
Hello, Sully. I just dropped in the hospital to see how you're getting along, son.
Hi, Kay. Listen, I'm not getting on any better. I'm worse. You know, I think I got...
Oh, I know what's here.
Bronchitis, tonsillitis, neuritis, appendicitis, arthritis, peritonitis, meningitis, too. Dissipation, vaccination, irritation, population, mutilation, speculation, syncopation, too. Though the doctor's treatment showed results, I always get a bad relapse each time she feels my pulse.
6 months later, and you're still in the hospital, Sully.
Yeah, kid, looks like I'm gonna be here a long time. I got some new ailments.
Oh, I know what's wrong with you now.
Rheumatism, stigmatism, mesmerism, hypnotism, catechism, plumberism, metabolism, too. Acidosis, dermatosis, varicosis, alkalosis, cysticercosis, diagnosis, halitosis, too.
Hey, Sully, quit bluffing. All you have is love, Ida.
Yes, I don't want to get well. I don't want to get well. I'm in love with the beautiful, gorgeous and kissable. I'm in love with that beautiful nurse.
Well, that is, folks, thinking of you. Our theme, and certainly our thought, until our next broadcast. We hope you've liked it. We hope we'll have you among our listeners tomorrow evening. By the way, let us know what your favorite songs are, because we certainly would like to make our programs according to your favorites. But until our next broadcast, all the boys and Nancy join me in saying, so long, everybody. And so ends Kay Kyser's portion of this Aragon Trio-Man time, which has come to you from the world's wonder ballroom, with the compliments of Andrew Carson.
Eddie, what are you so happy about?
What am I happy about? It's our program for tonight. It's the greatest we've ever had. And funny, right here, the first line where I say to you, it's terrific, Jimmy.
Well, why are you laughing so?
Because I'm the only one who knows the answer. Oh, Jimmy, when you howl, this is so funny.
Stay where you are. Don't move, none of you. I got you covered.
Why, what's the matter?
Yeah, what's the idea? Shut up. Listen, Cantor, what have you got in your hand?
Why, it's tonight's program. It's the funniest one we ever had.
Maybe, but you ain't gonna do it.
Why?
From now on, I'm furnishing the jokes for this program.
What do you mean? You're a writer?
Sure, nothing but original stuff.
Yeah?
Now, here's one I made up last night about Social Security.
Yeah.
Wallington says to you, who was that lady I seen you with last night? And I say, and you say,
Yeah?
that was no lady, that was my wife.
Yeah, but what has that got to do with Social Security?
Don't you get it? That joke is over 65.
Oh, my.
I got loads of it.
You have loads of it?
Listen, Eddie, don't let him intimidate you. Why don't you go up to him and knock him down? Go ahead.
Jimmy, I can't strike a man while he's standing.
No?
No, I'm a sit-down striker.
Stop gabbing.
Yeah? Oh, gee, but you're swell. When I say swell, I mean you're lovely as well. When I say lovely, I mean glorious, too. I'm mad about you. You're about the grandest thing that I ever knew. You got just what it takes. And I'll admit I get the luckiest break. And I mean lucky for what else could it be? When a girl like you loves me, I mean it honestly, gee, but you're swell. Gee, but you're swell. When I say swell, I mean you're lovely as well. When I say lovely, I mean glorious too. I'm mad about you. You're about the grandest thing that I ever knew. Darling, love's in the air. But call up City Hall, that man will be there. And when we're set, he'll get his regular fee. And an extra $5 from me, I guarantee he'll say, gee, but you're You know, Boy Scout Week begins today. I think it would be nice if we dedicated this song to the future citizens of our country, the Boy Scouts of America. You're choking me! You're choking me!
Take your hands off him.
Knuckles, the big boss.
It's the killer. Eddie, Bobby Breen gave you a message.
Gee, thanks for coming over.
Listen, you mugs, I want you to lay off this program. Cantor's a pal of mine. I'll give you some new territory. You go over to Jack Benny right away.
Oh, no.
No,
Don't send us there. No.
You'll go and like it.
Please, we'll do anything. We'll bump off a guy. We'll crack a safe, but don't send us to Jack Benny.
Ah, you're yellow. You're afraid of Jack Benny.
No, it ain't that, boss. We just don't want to hear him play the B on his violin.
Get out. No, get out.
No! The bull tried to throw me over the fence.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, Eddie, I guess he was trying to get even with you. He probably heard you throw the bull over the radio.
Yeah. Do you ever eat before you hit the hay? Well, don't. I did the other night, and now I say, I won't. Because I had a nightmare, a dream so confusing, let me tell you about it. You might find it amusing. I saw Winchell and Bernie in the swellest cafes, throwing things at each other. Then I went in a daze, for they'd given up brickbats and were tossing bouquets in my dream of the radio. I saw Amos and Andy, and it surely seemed queer. They were cast with the Goldbergs, and this fell on my ear. Yoo-hoo, Mrs. Goldberg, the Kingfishers, yeah, in my dream of the radio. Oh, the voice of experience was worried so sick, he discovered a question that he couldn't quite lick. So he called Gracie Allen up, and she turned the trick in my dream of the radio. And the town crier Woolcott, he was present, of course. He played Renfrew of the Mounted, that he-man of great force. And our own Jack Renard played the part of the horse in my dream of the radio. There was Kate Smith in pink tights, balanced up on her toes, in a red-hot Kazowski, dancing with Major Bose, while Schnauzola Durante led the band with his nose in my dream of the radio. And Jack Benny gave concerts when the curtain was rung. Up in Carnegie Hall, 1,000,000 wisecracks were flung, but then Jack played the B and Freddie Allen got stung in my dream of the radio. Martha Ray was there singing, and the crowd gave a shout when she started in singing, and she opened her mouth, for inside there was Whiteman playing I'm Going South in my dream of the radio. Eddie Cantor was missing, and it didn't seem fair, but still Eddie was happy, and he just didn't care, because Ida surprised him with a fine son and heir in my dream of the radio. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to say a few words about a great industry, aviation. During the recent floods, airline companies generously offer their services to the Red Cross and other flood relief agencies. Food, warm clothing, medical supplies, serums, doctors, and nurses were flown into the stricken area. Aviation is a comparatively young industry, yet the businessmen at its head have in a short time developed a network of airlines second to none the world over. Last year, over 1 million passengers were carried over our great national airlines, totaling a distance of almost 400 million passenger miles.
Well, Eddie, that's certainly a fine record, and one in which we, too, can take reasonable pride. because 3/4 of the nation's major airlines use one or more Texaco products. And this preference for Texaco should mean a great deal to every motorist, too.
50 years ago, Thomas Edison was completing the experiments that gave the world the motion picture. At the same time, Horace Wilcox was laying out this Cahuenga Valley subdivision called Hollywood. Those were days when Hollywood had an entirely different quota of celebrities. Its greatest hero, the subject of countless campfire tales, was still Kit Carson, who, as the American chief of scouts, helped capture Los Angeles. Its greatest villain was Vasquez, the bandit, who was captured while attending a dance on Sunset Boulevard, where most of Hollywood still dances. To Edison and Wilcox, Hollywood have seemed a mythical and fabulous place, a place that never could exist. Appropriately, therefore, we dedicate tonight's program to them. No modern Galileo glued to his telescope is more persistent in his endless search for new stars than the talent scouts of motion pictures. In this field of face-finding, none has a more glowing record than Rufus Maire. Since coming to Hollywood, he has brought over 200 new personalities to the screen for Warner Brothers, MGM, and Universal Studios. His more famous discoveries include Louise Reiner, Eleanor Powell, Betty Davis, George Brent, Dick Powell, and Gertrude Nielsen. Today, he is executive assistant to Charles Rogers, production head of Universal Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rufus Maire. Thanks, Mr. Demille. Since there aren't any rules for turning up talent, Mr. Maire, how have you found your star-spangled array of discoveries?
Chiefly through luck, I suppose. For example, 3 years ago, I was given a tip to look up an actress playing in a tiny theater in Vienna. I couldn't understand a word she said, but her personality spelled box office, and I brought her to Hollywood. Her name is Louise Reiner. Eleanor Powell, another MGM star, was dancing in Lowe State Theater in Times Square when a wire came from Hollywood to the MGM office, located in the same building. It was an order from Louis B. Maire to find a dancer at once who could rank with Fred Astaire. I saw dozens, but never thought of Eleanor until I happened to glance at her name on the marquee as I was returning to the office. That is the only instance when I found a star literally on my own doorstep.
I wish Betty Davis had wandered to my doorstep.
Betty was already in pictures before she was really discovered. Another studio had cast her in gingham dress types, and no one paid any attention to her. I suggested we give Betty a little sophistication. It was a lucky guess, for Betty skyrocketed to fame overnight. Gertrude Nielsen I had seen in New York several times without being impressed. But when she sang at the Trocadero here in Hollywood, with a new style of song, a slimmer figure, and a new style of hairdress, I couldn't hand her a contract quickly enough. And Deanna Durbin is a Universal star only because another studio let her go, and I was fortunate enough to catch her on the rebound.
Everyone always asks, what are the qualities that make a star?
Well, there are 3. A voice that you believe when you hear it saying, I love you. Second, charm. And third, appearance. A good complexion, for instance, is not only something nice to look at, but it is a definite reflection of character. No one knows this better than a star, and I've seen enough Lux soap in Hollywood to realize it is by far the favorite of those who must always look their best.
Is there any reason why one section of the country should produce more stars than another?
No, they'll come from everywhere. Though a great many of our future stars are right here in Hollywood, hoping to get a screen test. They haven't had experience, and you can't blame producers for hesitating to experiment with them. It's a big chance to take. But we at Universal took it when we starred Deanna Durbin, Barbara Reed, and Nan Gray in 3 Smart Girls. And we're going to take it again to the tune of $1 million in producing Top of the Town, with a cast composed entirely of new faces, headed by Doris Nolan, George Murphy, Gertrude Nielsen, and Ella Logan. I'm confident that when you see this film, you'll not only be seeing a fine show, but you'll get your first glimpse of at least 4 stars of the future. Good night.
Good night, Stargazer.
You know, you certainly managed to get yourself tied up in some awful knots. How do you do it anyway?
Oh, for the love of Mike.
It's like a story, you know? Boy meets girl at Grant's Tomb. Boy follows girl to Graustark. Boy proposes to girl. Girl throws boy in a can. It's like a story.
By the way, when Hollywood was founded 50 years ago, the majority of its citizens were sheep. When it became a town, one of the first laws prohibited the driving of more than 2,000 of its fleecy residents down Hollywood Boulevard at one time. The sheep have long since gone the way of all mutton. and Hollywood is now part of Los Angeles. But as a dog's paradise, it still has a large four-footed population. Since both our stars are owners of celebrated dogs, perhaps they'll tell us something about them. Ladies and gentlemen, Jean Raymond and Anna Sten.
Thank you, Mr. Demille. The only claim to fame my dogs may have is the fact that they are the only ones of their kind in Hollywood, at least as far as I know. They come from Siberia, and they are known as Samoyeds.
Well, since names make news, Anna, what do you call them?
Well, one is Pushok, which means swan down. One is Druzhok, meaning little friend. And the third is Vanka, a nickname for Ivan.
Pushork, Druzhork, and Vanka. Well, it's a cinch they're not Irish, like my setter. But I thought you said you had a quartet.
Yes, I have. And here's where I fool you. The fourth one is named Hooligan.
Ah, a harp and a Russian choir. And I suppose, Jean, that you call your Irish setter Ivan Ivanov.
No, I call him Trey, after the dog immortalized in Stephen Foster's poem. But tell me, Anna, how did you happen to name a Russian dog Hooligan?
Well, hooligan means roughneck in Russian, too.
Oh.
And my hooligan is about the liveliest dog I've ever seen. Always in a dither.
Did you say lather?
No, I said dither. But if you're looking for a chance to get in a word about Lux toilet soap, Mr. Demille...
Oh, I am.
Well, I'll say a good word for it any time. Lux toilet soap has been the favorite in my household since ever I came to Hollywood.
Thank you, Anna. You two will have to bring your dogs over sometime and get acquainted with my family. There's Darky DeMille, the Cocker Spaniel, Josephine DeMille, the St. Bernard, and Lutz von Alador DeMille, a Dachshund. That Adrian, the designer, presented to Mrs. DeMille with the observation that Dachshund speaks louder than words.
Oh, that's marvelous.
And now, may I urge you, if you haven't done so already, send a contribution to the American Red Cross. The work of rehabilitation in the flood area has only begun. Now, as seldom before, they need our full support. Please send your donation to the local chapter of the American Red Cross. This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
This program, ladies and gentlemen, came to you with the good wishes of the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, the beauty care used by 9 out of 10 screen stars, and yet so inexpensive that every girl can use it every day. A cordial invitation goes to you to listen in again next Monday night when Cecil B. DeMille brings us a production of that sparkling comedy, Brewster's Millions, starring Jack Benny and Mary Livingston. Assisting them will be another all-star supporting cast and the Lux Radio Theater Orchestra under the direction of Louis Silvers. Until then, we bid you all good night. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This broadcast originates from the Shrine of the Little Flower at Royal Oak, Michigan. Every Sunday, over these same stations and at the same hour, these discussions will be presented by Father Coughlin together with some guest argumentator. Last Sunday, as you know, the first discussion on Christianity versus communism was presented. Encouraged by the numerous letters which indicated a genuine welcome for this type of program, we find that Father Coughlin has prepared another interesting and similar hour for his audience. Likely there are many in this audience who failed to hear last Sunday's discussion. Please write for it, together with a copy of today's discussion, so that you'll be able to have complete continuity throughout the series, which will last for some weeks longer. When writing, ask for Discussion 1, or Discussion 2, or Discussion 3, and so forth. Today's is Discussion 2. First, Mr. Cyril Wesmail will sing for us Geoffrey O'Hara's A Fool Hath Said There Is No God. As usual, Mr. Cyril Guthrow is at the console of the organ. Reminding you that these broadcasts are paid for at full commercial rates and depend upon the free will offerings of its listeners, may I present Mr. Cyril Wesmail.
It is a mutually accepted viewpoint that if the communists have a better plan to supply the necessities of life than the one which is in vogue, then there is a possibility that their system will predominate, irrespective of its being concerned only with the things of this world. Do you agree that communism believes in action?
Certainly, Father.
Is it not true that it is interested in doing things for the oppressed people?
I grant that point.
During the past 20 years, has not communism brought more prosperity to the Russian people than was produced under the regime of the Tsars?
Well, for the sake of argument, I will not contradict you.
I am as much opposed to the states dominating the church as I am to the states dictating to the press or to the radio. More than any communist, I stand for free speech, free press, and free pulpit. One almost fears to boast of the contributions made by Christianity to liberty and to democracy and to politics in general. Communists, unfortunately, are not the only ones who profess a love for dictatorship. Everywhere it appears, this corpse of tyranny seems to be raising its unholy head from the grave of the past. Dictatorship and government by man seem to be in the ascendancy, while democracy and government by constitution appear to be on the wane. Lamentably, I admit those battles belong to the warfares of yesterday. Sorrowfully, I recognize that they must be fought over. Fought against communists and their dictator. Fought against the socialistic fascism propagated by Hitler. Fought against any person or group of persons who, either at home or abroad, would make mockery of government by law and a memory of government by free ballot.
But that would not be respecting authority, Father, should the German people rebel against their Hitler, or the Russian people against their Stalin. Does not your Christianity insist upon respecting authority?
Oh, that is true, Father. Nevertheless, Christianity has not stultified herself by forcing its adherents to bend a knee before a despot who cringes behind a text of Scripture to support his misdemeanors. The devil can quote Scripture for his purpose. So can kings and emperors, rulers and presidents. In America, we are doing the same thing that you are doing about it. You are trying to educate the public to your viewpoint, with the possibility of their eventually confiscating factories. We are trying to educate the public to our viewpoint, protecting private ownership and guaranteeing a real living annual wage. Sometimes you lose faith in converting the American people to your standard, and then you say, down with democracy and up with tyranny. On the contrary, Father, we have learned how to suffer rebuffs and disappointments, but we have never learned how to lose faith in the political liberty, the democracy, and the people whom we love. Oh, I am not proud if I have been a prophet. Prophets sometimes hang their heads in shame, hang their heads in sorrow when they see the realization of those dreams which they have foretold. I am not proud, I repeat, if I have prophesied that democracy is in danger and that dictatorship at least has cast its shadow upon our flag, upon our lives. Oh, no, that is not the point. I know, perhaps, I should say I am positive that I know how our chief executive is desirous to win for liberty a victory in that last act of that last drama to which I referred, industrial freedom, economic liberty, for the children of Michigan, for the children of Pennsylvania, for the children of men who everywhere bear the yoke of burden upon their shoulders, as they use the pick in the mine, as they use the lathe in the factory, or as they sweat and toil, mingling blood and sinew with steel and iron, as they try to make this a better country in which to live, and as they endeavor to eke for themselves and their loved ones a livelihood that has been denied them. I grant you, I repeat, that is the thought uppermost in the mind of our chief executive, that these sons of toil shall be victorious. Oh, but pause a while. Liberty has won other victories, on other stages, at other times. The liberties of which I spoke this afternoon, the physical liberty by which man gained freedom from the iron shackles of a Nero in a Roman galley, the political liberty by which men gained their independence over a tyrant when King John was forced to sign the Magna Carta, the intellectual liberty that was battled for with the sword of the Word of God when Thomas of Aquin preached his doctrine at Paris, when Bonaventure sounded the trumpet of his wisdom throughout Italy, and when the Jesuits and when everyone else gifted with God's love and God's faith and God's knowledge carried the torch of learning from university to town, from town to village, from village to wilderness, as the cross of Christ was uplifted for 19 centuries, gallantly carrying the Word of God, the Word of liberty, the Word of love to all mankind. Why then shall only one man in all this nation think that he is concerned with industrial liberty, with economic freedom, when we're all concerned with it? Why then break down the structure of the past that preserves all the liberty and that will preserve our industrial liberty when it comes? Why set himself up, therefore, shall I say as a dictator, because perchance the Supreme Court has grown old in age and in wisdom, and perchance because the Supreme Court is taking only the laws that we have, squaring them with the Constitution that is ours, and finding that they do not fit? Oh, let us write new laws that will fit. And if the Constitution requires an amendment, have faith in the American people who elected this government. Have faith in the ballots of a free people who have guaranteed a perpetuation of liberty. We are not defeatists, and we will not buy industrial freedom at the price of scuttling religious freedom, at the price of endangering political freedom, at the price of jeopardizing the freedom which our Constitution holds sacred for us. Oh, would that I had time perhaps to jot down one single simple little note that would give some continuity to this expression that comes pouring forth from my heart and not from some manuscript. Would that I had time to implore you, you who are former members of the National Union, you who were former enemies of mine, as if I were a radical, you who are indifferent. I know history. I know how to interpret events, at least in some small degree. And I know that it's better to walk on, it's better to stir up the people for the injustice that is perpetrated against them by industry and finance. I know that it is better for all of us to amalgamate and win good legislation upon our statute books that will guarantee economic freedom rather than pack the Supreme Court with men, the appointees of a president, who may always remember that they were his appointees. Our government consists of 3 separate branches: a president to execute the laws, a Congress to make the laws, and a Supreme Court to interpret them. There must be no rubber-stamped Congress. There must be no rubber-stamped Supreme Court. There must be no rubber-stamped president. Each must be independent. America must remain America. Let's not cast all the past upon the throw of the dice of fortune. Let's preserve liberty and win liberty and keep America for Americans and by Americans in its Constitution. Good day, my friends, and God bless you.
The discussion to which you have listened this afternoon originated in the shrine of the Little Flower at Royal Oak, Michigan. Father Coughlin was the speaker. May I invite you to write for a copy of this afternoon's discussion, together with that of last Sunday, both of which are in pamphlet form. These pamphlets are available only at the Shrine of the Little Flower, Royal Oak, Michigan. Address your letters directly to Father Coughlin, who will be glad to correspond with you. This is Charles Penman announcing. This program came to you over a special network of stations.
Here is a message from your neighborhood Texaco dealer to his car-owning neighbors. We know that the gasoline we serve at our fire chief pumps will give you lightning action in your motor and the full power demanded by fire engines and ambulances. We know that it is refined to eliminate all wasteful substances and thus saves you money. We know, too, that people are not only interested in power and speed, they want to be treated right when they drive into a service station. So we say to all neighbors to please feel free to come in any time for air, water, or any other little service. We would like to meet you. We hope you'll enjoy meeting us, for we try to keep in mind that there is more to this business than just selling things. Please believe in the desire of every Texaco dealer to be friendly and helpful at all times. Thanks.
A ghost. Wait a minute, whose is it? What is it? Are you the ghost of Hamlet's father?
No, he couldn't come.
Why not?
Fred Allen hired him to haunt Jack Benny.
Jack Benny, will he play the bee or not the bee?
That is the question.
Say, you know, you've got a great sense of humor.
Thanks, Eddie. And I'm from England.
A foreigner! You know, you speak pretty good English for a foreigner?
So do you, Eddie.
Yeah.
In this picture, I have to sing a song, and in the second chorus, I leave the country.
Oh, it's going to be that bad, huh?
No, Eddie. No, leaving the country, I gather, is a sort of figure of speech.
Uh-huh.
Well, here, it's in my part. You read it.
Leslie Howard sings song, and in second chorus, he goes to town. Leave the country. No, it means that you get hot, then you go to town.
See, well, if I'm hot, why go to town? Why not stay in the country where it's nice and cool?
No, look, let me show you. For instance, if you were singing Pennies from Heaven, the first chorus would go like this. Every time it rains pennies from heaven. But in the second chorus, you'd get hot like this. You know, every time it rains. Now, what am I getting?
3 pairs of rubber.
No, No, doctors and nurses. No.
Big people.
No, you know, Leslie, it isn't as easy as you think, being a comedian on the radio.
Eddie, you're so right. I tell you something, it's much more difficult to make people laugh than to make people cry. You know, you've given me a great deal of entertainment tonight, and I'm grateful. And I do hope you'll ask me to come again sometime, Eddie. Goodbye, old man.
Goodbye, Leslie. Thank you for coming.
With each passing week, competition in this dizzy business of building variety in front of a microphone grows keener and keener. Therefore, with each passing week, our reach, and we hope our grasp, extends further and further afield in order to bring you new people, new words, and new music. Tonight, for example, our cast has been assembled from Hollywood, Broadway, Russia, and the Irish Free State.
Well, Rudy, St. Paul, Minnesota, too.
Yes, and St. Paul, Minnesota, represented by that patriotic Mr. McNamee. From Hollywood comes
Jean Arthur, lovely star of The Plainsman and Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, in a one-act play by Colin Clements.
From Broadway,
two funny fellows, Frank Gabby and Edgar Bergen, which make three funny fellows when you stop to think about little Charlie McCarthy.
From Ireland,
Sarah Allgood, leading actress of the Irish Abbey Theatre, just arrived from Old Country to rehearse for a new Theatre Guild play on Broadway.
From Russia,
Avicii Vronsky and Victor Babin, a two-piano combination whose opening American concert on Sunday was notably successful. Tonight marks their first radio appearance.
To all of which we add those strictly New England lads, the Connecticut Yankees.
Who's the Yankee, ain't it?
Quiet! The backbone of any radio variety show continues to be those stalwart veterans of vaudeville who have learned by vast experience in front of audiences everywhere just how to act when the spotlight picks them out. Frank Gabby is such a fellow of infinite jest, tried in the fire of big time and small. Young in years but old in trooping days, he emerges forthwith. We present Frank Gabby. I'm in love with 2340567, the Social Security song. The ancient Arabs had a way of making symbols that today are numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because of those Arabic digits, modern folks have got the fidgets. Everything must have a number, yes, sir, even men. Now I'm in love with 2340567. That's my sweetie, also my address in heaven. Papa 804 was not contrary. He and 309 said we could marry. So I'll subtract that number from the family column, which I'll add to me. Then we'll have some little numbers all our own for our security. No matter what your rank or station, if you live in this great nation, you must have a number to protect you when you're gray. But long before you need a pension, when you have a good intention, you'll announce it by the numbers. Here is what you'll say. Oh, I'm in love with 2340567. That's my sweetie, also my address in heaven. Papa 804 was not contrary. He and 309 said we could marry. So I'll subtract that number from the family column, which I'll add to me. Then we'll have some little numbers all our own for our security. One of the bright points about the year 1936 was the emergence of Miss Jean Arthur into full-fledged stardom in the prize-winning picture Mr. Deeds Goes to Town.
WEAF, New York.
me someday, so why not now? Oh, won't you let me try to show you how things what you're missing? Oh, it's a shame you'll miss the kissing and the rest of the game in open spaces where men are men. A chicken never waits till she's a hen. Don't keep me waiting, for I do vow you'll do it someday, so why not now?
I understand your first visit was a pretty exciting one.
Yes, we did start off a bit of a row. That was in 1911, when George C. Tyler, bless his heart, brought the Abbey Players over for the first time. We were opening up with the Playboy of the Western world, and word got round that the play was not entirely complimentary to the Irish nation as a whole. Well, a bunch of the boys who called themselves the Gopher Gang decided they'd break up the proceedings. The police got wind of it, and we were warned not to show ourselves outside the theatre, which we didn't. Sure enough, just before the curtain time, the Gopher boys began collecting inside a pub across the street in great numbers.
And what happened?
Nothing at all, hardly. The police waited until all those mad Irish gossoons got inside the saloon, and then they up and locked the door on the outside.
Quite a situation, I'd say.
And so would I. A company of Irish actors playing an Irish play, written by an Irish writer. A great many more Irish trying to stop them from playing, and a lot of Irish cops leaping to the rescue. There's just one man had my sympathy out of the whole crowd of them.
And who was that?
The bartender inside that pub. Oh, but you know as well as I do, Rudy, the Irish as a people are inclined to be contentious and derogatory. You know, they'd rather fight than be lonesome.
Yes, I can well understand that, being Irish myself.
Ah, you know? I didn't know that. Why, you don't look Irish.
Well, that's the French-Canadian and Yankee influence, Miss Allgood.
Uh-huh.
Sure, and all my ancestors on my mother's side came over from good old County York. How do you like the brogue?
Well, you know, Rudy, I believe it's true what my friend Charles Lawson said about you.
Yes?
Yes, indeed. He said you had the clearest, most pleasing English diction of anyone on the wireless in America.
Faith, and that's a great compliment, Faith, and it is, and it is, and it is. But, sure, and how about the brogue?
Well, now, just between you and me, Rudy.
Yes?
It's terrible.
The folks that live next door to me have a brand new baby, and it nearly drives me wild when they rave about that child. All I ever hear her do is cry. But there's another baby, as cute as she can be, moved in today across the way at number 63, and she's made a hit with me. She's got a dog and cat, a great big picture hat, and all the boys just call her baby. She's got a dainty style, a little baby smile, the kind that makes you want to stick around a while. She's got those dreamy eyes, and every time she sighs, you forget your family. The other evening, in a cabaret we spent, and when I saw the check, I thought it was the rent. But when the waiter came, she simply signed her name. That's the kind of a baby for me. She's got a dog and cat, a great big picture hat, and all the boys just call her baby. She's got an aeroplane, a summer home in Maine, and diamonds that would set a fellow most insane. She's got those dreamy eyes, and every time she sighs, you forget your family. Her father is retired, doesn't have to toil. He's made $1 million out of Texas oil, and she's his only child, and she's just awfully wild. That's the kind of a baby for me.
Oh, Betty's going to win a prize. Don't you, Daddy? Why are you looking at me so funny? What's the matter?
Why, Bobby.
Is something wrong?
Come over here, son. Look. I'm afraid Spotty won't be in the dog show.
Why not? You promised me. I haven't done anything wrong.
It's not that, Bobby.
Is he hurt? Did something happen to Spotty? Where is he, Daddy?
He's gone.
Oh, gee, is that all? He'll come back. He always runs away and comes back again. Me and Spotty are pals. He wouldn't stay away long.
I'm afraid this time he'll never come back. You see, Spotty's been poisoned.
Poison? Poison? You mean he's dead? Oh, no. Oh. Why would anybody want to poison Spotty? He never hurt anybody.
Oh, look, try not to feel too bad, Bobby. Listen, you know what I'm going to do? You remember that two-wheel bike you wanted, and I said you couldn't have it till you were 12? Well, I'm going to get it for you. Well, really. What do you say we go right down and pick it out now? I think blue would be a swell color. Don't you, Jimmy?
Yes, blue is swell.
I'm going home. Don't worry, Daddy. I'll be all right. I guess I'm man enough to take it. After all, I suppose there are other dogs inside. Buddy.
Mayor Cantor, the police have picked up the man. He's outside. You want to talk to him?
No.
Ask him. Why did he do it?
Let me go out and see him, Eddie. I want to get my hands on this guy.
Oh, don't bother, Jimmy. Not now. You know, sometimes women call each other cats, and one man might call another a dog or a rat. But believe me, there isn't a four-legged animal on God's earth that's as mean as some two-legged ones. Come on, son.
Listen again next Sunday evening at the same time. Another technical program broadcast direct from Hollywood, California. In the meantime, whenever you hear the siren and bell, think of Texaco Fire Chief Gasoline. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to 1937 Part 4, the Soundscapes audio montage series number 13 from When Radio Ruled. I'm Mike Gillette, your host. When Radio Ruled and the Soundscape series are before TV productions. Copyright 2022.